The roots of German militarism evolved over centuries and culminated during the Third Reich. It grew to dominate most aspects of German society and eventually resulted in the nation's complete annihilation. Relying heavily on primary historical sources, we'll focus on evidence of the influence of this tendency. In part 1 of the series, I'll introduce an example of how Waffen SS men were indoctrinated to embrace the violence and cruelty of the allegedly heroic struggle that they were engaged in. To keep your attention, I've mixed in nice film footage that goes well with the subject matter, so go ahead and subscribe to the channel and stick around. It's worth it, I promise. Today's source is a text from this original, late 1943 Schützstaffel Handbook. The article stresses the responsibility of the individual German to past, present, and future generations. It justifies the psychological damage suffered by soldiers engaging in close combat as necessary in order for the individual to gain a deeper understanding of his role within the Germanic ethos. Krieg ohne Gnade. Wir sind in die Arena eines Kampfes getreten. We have entered the arena of a battle that is without mercy. The people who clash in it are two types of the human race, mortal enemies. In a higher sense, a war is being fought here that is truly the father of all things. Its outcome will decide the face of a future world. In the fury of this battle, the world must be transformed. The features of satanic hatred and barbarism must be erased. The face of the new world must no longer have a place for it. The sword alone decides in this battle, in which all the fragments that could lead to one another have been destroyed. Wie viele Male hat in diesem Feldzug? How many times in this campaign has a soldier of the Eastern Front stood face to face with the enemy? Even in the fury and rage of modern battles, that will always be the decisive, the most difficult moment. When man faces man with weapon in hand, burning hate in their eyes, the will to destroy in their hearts, and one has to sink to clear the way for the other to continue on to a new fight. It will always be the most terrible moment when human being collides with human being and the final decision is made. Close combat is without mercy. You or I, there is nothing else left in the world. Anyone who has never felt the enemy's hot breath on his face or seen the murderous look in his eyes does not know the deepest secret of war that is revealed at this moment. Man is the master of all things. The power of the world lies in his will and in his hands. Only he has felt this who has gone through the merciless battle and, purified, even stronger, knowing his own power and the limitlessness of the human will, has passed through 100 deaths and once again entered the gate of life. Längst kämpfen wir nicht mehr Siege und Erfolge. We have long since stopped fighting for victories and successes, as we know them from other battles. The whole of the West is fighting its final, decisive battle within us, within each and every one of us. Two worlds are at war, one of which must and will break apart. Otherwise, world history would have lost its meaning. Each and every one of us feels the violence of this battle with full awareness, as a battle in which everything that 1,000-year history has placed in us is fighting with us. And the good spirits of our comrades in Russian soil live on in us day after day and warn us not to tire. Bolshevism itself has taught us the lesson that there can be no half measures in this conflict. We have become as hard as steel. Only willpower decides. We know that fate is in our hands, and we will force it. Never again will people be able to experience and see what we have all endured in this difficult trial and will endure until the final decision. An army of soldiers has grown up in this war, in which each individual has bought in with a clear conscience, with deep faith and the greatest capacity for sacrifice. Each individual has gone through all the tests of probation 100 times and has passed them all. Aus Glauben und Wissen ist der wahre Soldat. The true soldier of a revolution is born of faith and knowledge. He fights for everything that was sacred to past generations, for the security of his homeland in the fateful struggle of the nation, for the life of his children in a new world, whose first signs are currently rising on the horizon in the west. Death, heat, cold, and all the deprivations of a heavy struggle are nothing before the mighty stream of strength and confidence that flows to him daily from the faithful knowledge and hard realization of the imminent necessity of this decisive battle. Ancestors and fathers fight along with him. He's the knowing heir of 1,000 years of history. Their virtues are his own. From the creative power of his time, he adds new forces to which the destructive powers of war are only necessary means in the struggle of the world, in order one day to reveal their deepest meaning in the formative, constructive form of a kingdom of the future. In this faith, with these forces, the German soldier and his allies will win the decision that he himself made when he recognized the deep meaning of his struggle. The day of victory will be his greatest fulfillment because he knows that it is the beginning of a new era. Es werden neue Schlachten. New battles will break out. Hundreds of kilometers of Russian roads will hurt our feet. We have already seen and experienced everything. We will no longer storm with the roaring enthusiasm of youth that was still with us when we first went to the Great Judgment. We have become wise men, calm, austere, and serious. All the fires of hell have scorched us. The blistering sun and the icy breath of the snowy steppe have made us suffer. The images of an existence in the madness of the most diabolical idea that humanity has ever given birth to live within us. So too does the knowledge of the intensity and mercilessness with which this struggle must end as it began. Das Sonnenrad rollt über die Sowjetunion. The black sun rolls over the Soviet Union. In flames and blood, a world is born that will bring space and peace to our sons for a happy future. We will be its designers. We have gone through hell and have been burned by and endured the flames to awake consciousness and become harder. Our faith is firmer and stronger than ever. Death and the devil are already behind us. New deaths and hells should not frighten us. Victory is ours. This 1513 engraving, titled Night, Death, and the Devil, is from the German artist Albrecht Dürer. Packed full of symbolism and iconography, its meaning has been argued over the centuries. The propagandists of the Third Reich bent it to their own worldview, which we'll discuss in a future episode. Finally, here on the right is a charcoal drawing done by the SS war correspondent Wilhelm Peterson, titled Soldier in the East. And this is more work from the artist, from his postcard series, Men of the Waffen SS. If you like this kind of content, which integrates different primary historical sources, please subscribe to the channel. Patreon supporters preview all videos uploaded to YouTube and get regular access to footage that can't be shown here. Thanks for watching.